Hey, okay, so Brian here from quantlabs.net. Just want to talk about this email that I got from somebody who's been watching what I've been doing. This is a query or set of queries he's been putting out after a week plus watching videos and taking notes. I do a lot of in-depth documentation. By the way, I have notes on about 8 videos on Python, but decided to take a break and watch some of the other video links you sent. It's tough to keep up. Yeah, it is. Learning Python is quite the endeavor. If you've watched if you come to my YouTube channel and you, maybe in the last week or so, I put up a bunch of videos on a survey I've been running on Python, which programming languages people use for algo trading. I can tell you about half. You can see that little big square or little portion here of this pie in green. That's Python. It's that big. So there's no doubt that Python is the way and the standard language to use to learn about Python for algo trading. It's easy, and there's a lot of things there that people use. So there's no argument that. There was a seminar video about 32 minutes with this European company who did a PowerPoint on their algo trading, very informative. There's literally thousands of videos on YouTube and wherever else to learn. They discuss how they use Python for the research, simulation, data engine servers, and did C++ coding for the low-level code. I'm only 10 minutes into it. Yeah, that's pretty well the standard stack in technology and programming languages that a lot of shops use. I'm planning to do the same thing. I'll talk about other different thing I'll be adding in a minute. But Python is definitely the place for exactly these purposes of research, simulation, data engines, and servers done in Python, and then C++ on other lower level stuff. So here's the question. What are you investing in terms of hardware, coding, and other things in your system? Okay, hardware, for me, it's easy. I'm going to get rid of this. Bye-bye. All right, so in terms of hardware, my stack is very straightforward. I've dumped Windows long ago, about a year and a quarter ago. I never looked back. I've seen in my stats that Windows is definitely dropping with the same survey I just showed you. C# is probably the 4th most popular language that's used for algo trading, so it's probably Python, then C++, then Java, then C#. So it just shows you the .NET and the Windows world seems to be dropping off very quickly over the years, and I think Microsoft's trying to hang on for dear life wherever they can. In terms of coding, now I've already talked about Python and C++. That's a pretty well given. The other thing is other things for your system. So my system, let's talk about that. If you come under playlists here, under my channel, what you'll find here is a variety of areas that you may want to branch into over time. Take your time on it. Don't overwhelm yourself. Just take it in small chunks. But so far I haven't really deviated from this for the last number of years. The first one is obviously Python attack. So my set of videos, you got over 100 here, as you can see, of Python. The other thing that is important is C++. So that's another area you may want to delve into. The database choices that I'm looking at and I'm pretty well sticking with is Redis. So here's a set of videos you can watch there. And then the other important one that I'm moving into is Apple Tech, meaning Apple Swift for iOS. These I haven't talked a whole lot about, but you'll see that my next big phase will be exactly that. You've seen the number of videos I've talked about for coding for both C++, Python, using Redis as the data store backend database, using NoSQL. I've talked about that. The new future features that I've seen in Redis are pretty killer. With neural net, I've got a video on that as well. I just put up. So that's pretty well my choices on the data store. In terms of new areas that I'm going into, as I said, is Apple Tech, the Swift. If you come under here, you'll see me talk a lot about Swift using Mac So basically what I'm saying is that I'm probably taking a large risk here, and I don't really care because the system's for me and nobody else, not writing it for anybody else but me. And I'm finding that when I'm traveling and whatnot, I really don't want to have to take a $2,000-3,000 laptop with me in case I lose it or breaks or something. But I don't mind if it's a $400 iPad. So, and I think that's pretty well the same mentality that's approached by many people out there. And the thing is, with Apple and iPad, the whole market's moving towards that. Just 2 weeks ago, Android devices now outnumber total Windows devices, and that's obviously because of growth in Asia. But with Android comes a price of security. And when it comes to my trading with live money, I'd rather be on Apple, which I know is pretty well secure because I've used it quite a long time. Now, because of that, I'm planning to use Swift, and you'll see here in this playlist in the Apple Tech, I've looked at a variety of charting options for Swift, and specifically iOS, the operating system for iPad and iPhone. It's limited. I've pretty well determined which charting I'm wanting, the Telerex. That again will be over the next few weeks. So I'll be moving into this as the next big step. Now, in terms of Android versus Apple, when I travel in North America and anywhere else, I can literally say of all the devices I've seen, laptop or mobile, it still comes back to Apple. Anything, if it's a PowerBook or an iPad or an iPhone, is normally what people use. So I'm okay with that, and again, that's why I'm using it. I've used it. I've had a lot of problems with Android, so that's my direction. I'm going with Swift for the front end, the graphical user interface stuff, and using Redis to connect into it as the backstore on a cloud solution. And I say cloud now that I'm finally coming around to it. I'm still going to have local hardware. I think I'm in a unique situation, but I can talk about it if you want. Let me just see if I can answer some of this stuff. Do you have a template that I could follow to build my system? Could you help me out with that? Okay, so it's pretty well all related. So as I said, the system and the hardware, basically what I'm saying is I'm using Apple hardware and Apple technologies on the front end that will connect into the back end, which is going to be Linux based. So that's where all my Redis will reside, and all the trading logic and the pricing and all that will sit on the Linux servers. And as I move into that next phase, that's going to be using Redis. If you want a more recent video on that, again, as I said, everything's based around playlists with my videos. The best place to go for that on Redis is if you come under Redis NoSQL in memory database, you go to the bottom, you'll get the most recent videos. But here's the video that I'm talking about, is Redis 4 overview of NoSQL high-speed algo trading needs. So I talk about all the trading needs that I'm envisioning with Redis, which will basically fit all my requirements. As originally there's a relational database and all that. With Redis 4, it covers that. So you're really only needing the one database. It's true open source. It's written in C. It's nicely coded. It's going to have these things called modules. So now you have like a graph database capability built on top of the Redis core. And you can also build a neural net on top of the Redis core as well. And that's new with Redis 4. So I talk about that in that video. Okay, so that's the database choice, and then of course that will sit on servers. The other nice thing about Redis is that clusters has a failover, has the redundancy and all that, so all taken care of, and again, free source, open source with C source code. So that's pretty well the template in terms of the data. The other thing I talk about in Redis, it talks to anything, including Swift. So the Swift will be the new GUI, or the graphical user interface, with iOS as a primary device. and then using charting and all that will be built out in, as I said, Telerik. And that's pretty well it. So I'll be still using Python, obviously using C++ as part of that backend with the C. So that can be all done in a pretty rock solid IDE, integrated development environment, like Visual Studio, but for Mac called Xcode. So that's my future. That's how I'm envisioning it. It's not a popular option, I realize, because everyone wants to be on Python. But my stack is going to be C, C++ with Swift as the front end moving forward, and then using Redis on the back end for the data store. And that's how I'm envisioning it. And then of course I'll be having my Python scripts as well to feed data into the Redis, and that's where the Python comes in. Now, if you are, let's say, confused about Python, Python can get very confusing too with the Python 2 and 3 debate. That was maybe as recent as a year ago. That's no longer a debate. Everything's moving into Python 3. So I have to move my scripts that I've done into Python 3. Now, if you come to my website, you want to learn about Python, this is probably one of the more logical paths if you want to learn how I do it. I got these 3 courses. I've got the Python algo trading components. What this enables you to do is, a year ago, using Python 2, not 3, will walk you through all the different components you need for a complete trading system. And again, you can see here I do talk about Redis, I do talk about MongoDB as another option. As Mongo has evolved, it's becoming more commercial than open source. So that's why I moved to Redis, because that's pure Redis. And of course I talk about the brokers, using interactive brokers, and there's also a little demo using Duca's copy as well. If you want to go Forex only, market data source, and the charting as well. This is a tough one. This is why I'm moving into Swift, but it's all there. And then if you want the path to continue, if you choose this, because you'll see here, we have the interactive brokers as an option using, I think it's IB PY as your package for that, which is not bad. But as you evolve and you advance your options, then you move into other courses, like if you want just a very generic futures options strategy, you can go with this, where I include different coding examples for both Python and C++. But here is the interesting one, the really in-depth one, and I've gotten one of the package writers in the last few days ask about Python interactive brokers in Linux. And this course focuses on that non-Windows. So here, if you decide to go that level, you can definitely, again, Redis, just Redis. I just believe in it, and it works really nice. And it's leveraging a lot of the communication between your database and what interactive brokers gives you with the TWS software. Or if you choose to go the gateway, we cover that, and we also cover the fix as well. I don't go too much into that, but there's a different options available, and there's lots of videos and workshops that I've done to walk you through that. And of course, I'm also using Java as well if you wanted. So this is really geared towards those that want to understand how to build message queues between interactive brokers, the data with the orders, using Redis. So this is what this course is really built for. It uses both Python, Java, and C++ for both Mac and Linux. Okay, so that is why I built this course. So those are your 2 options as you move farther down the line in terms of knowledge. But just starting out, I would go with this Python infrastructure building block course to get you started. But again, it's Python 2 versus 3. It don't matter. It's just going to introduce you to the components, and that's what it's about. You can kind of use these components, these scripts, but you probably will get better results updating them into version 3 as you get more advanced in Python. So those are the courses. That's the path I would suggest. If it's something you're not interested in buying, you can always leverage these videos that I put out. But that's the direction I'm going in as of here in April 2017, and that's how it's looking. I've got all the C++ stuff there. I've got all the Python stuff there. It's just now building out the modern front end, which is going to be, as I said, on an iPad versus a laptop. And you could build it in Android. I just don't feel comfortable with Android in terms of live trading money or capital. That's why I choose Apple. So that's the path. Hopefully, I'll help you out. Talk to you later.